그의 군대는 전면도할 것입니다.
If Big Brother were real life, then Ri Sol-ju would win the contest. The First Lady might be a mysterious figure to news outlets, but that's thanks to North Korea's strict surveillance. From risking penalties on fashion choices to never traveling without supervision, these are the top 10 strict regulations Kim Jong's wife and all of North Korea follow. Let's break it down. Number 10. Prohibition of political opinions. Is Ri Sol-ju silent or being silenced? She might have come from an educational background, but her thoughts are being put on hold. A lot of people wonder what her political stances on issues are, but it appears that she is not permitted to express any political views. The catch is that Kim Jong-un keeps a strict eye on her. Ever since she became known to the public, the government's been plotting ways to use her position strategically. While she may accompany Kim to various political meetings, she is nothing but a spectator. She's merely being used as an apolitical figure who appears unalarming to adversaries. But it's no surprise that even Ri Sol-ju is subjected to such extreme measures. Come to think of it, North Korea ranks 180th out of 180 nations surveyed in Reporters Without Borders 2022 Press Freedom Index. So is it a surprise that Ri Sol-ju is forced to stay quiet on political matters? There are several explanations behind this restriction. For starters, it maintains the image of the royal family, which is critical to the dictatorship. It also aids them in keeping a tight hold on Ri Sol-ju's life, and they make sure she doesn't gain too much authority. The thing is, the government is using her to modify North Korean values and maintain control over its citizens. As the leader's wife, she's forced to act like a role model for all. Not to mention, she's used as a friendly and unassuming figure in political meetings to ease tensions. But this effort to maintain control over a person's opinion is nearly a century-old strategy, where the power of the government is enforced upon its citizens. After eliminating competing factions in the early 1950s, North Korea's first leader, Kim Il-sung, established a personality cult to consolidate power. To defend his totalitarian reign, he twisted his family's past and his own personal exploits, claiming to have beaten the Japanese single-handedly in order to liberate the Korean people. Around his reign, he took on extravagant titles such as Heavenly Leader, and his statues were constructed around the country. To demonstrate their commitment, every North Korean adult was required to wear a badge of Kim Il-sung over their heart, a tradition that is still in place today. Now, any kind of opposition to this narrative comes at a huge cost. For those of you in the dark, there's a spine-chilling system in North Korea. The system is known as Songbun, and it divides people into groups depending on their family history. If your family is loyal to the government, then you're safe, and belong to a group known as Core. But if they have some reservations, you may be in the wavering group. Except if they are distrustful, you may be in the hostile group. This structure influences how individuals think about and discuss politics. People are cautious about what they say because they are aware that it may have an impact on their family's standing and opportunities. It also determines who can attend good schools and attain particular occupations. This ensures that the majority of North Koreans adhere to the government's ideals, allowing the regime to maintain control. So, let's just say she's better off keeping her opinions to herself. Number 9. Dress code and appearance. If you think she has a say in the way she looks, think again. Ri Sol-ju is always expected to look her best and most elegant. Her dress is a reflection of the modest and traditional beliefs of the government. Like always, her task is to make her attire act as a template for what all women should look and dress like in North Korea. Kim and his father both preferred conservatism in their women, so naturally they do their part in complying with their beliefs. You can usually catch her in a hanbok. It's a two-part outfit with a long skirt and a short jacket, usually decorated with very detailed patterns and embroidery. It fits the bill of looking classy and tailored to a T for the First Lady. Her hair is always prim and proper, and her face always sports minimal makeup. Given she's always under watchful eyes, it's no secret that it's just one of the many ways she's being controlled. Now, North Korea has increased its focus on fashion choices such as tight trousers and colored hair, which are considered to have a capitalist flair. These initiatives are being led by the Socialist Patriotic Youth League. which is particularly interested in women in their 20s and 30s. They are looking for people with long hair, brown hair, enormous foreign letters on their outfits, and tight pants. Individuals who are apprehended must wait by the road while patrols complete their inspections before being transported to the Youth League office to confess in writing. They are only released after they are given acceptable clothing. North Korea has forbidden piercings, thin jeans, and particular hairstyles such as mullets since last May 2022 to curb what they term decadent Western fashion trends. Foreign speech, haircuts, and clothing, according to Kim Jong-un, are dangerous poisons. Patrols have been busy at major markets, and anyone apprehended is reported to their employers. In serious circumstances, the violator's personal information is broadcast publicly via state-controlled loudspeakers, known as the third broadcast. But these laws haven't really limited the spirit of young people. They're still finding ways to express themselves creatively and break the rules. Except, a new law has come into action that prevents women from wearing shorts, even in the scorching heat. A person from North Korea told Radio Free Asia about this. They said that 10 women were arrested just for wearing shorts. These women had to say they were sorry, and they promised not to wear shorts again. People are upset about this rule. They think it's unfair because men can wear shorts. They say the government is treating women differently. This rule was made in 2020 to stop behaviors the government doesn't like. It's not the first strange rule in North Korea. Earlier, they banned smoking in public, but only for women. Even though Kim Jong-un smokes, he fined women for it. In 2022, they criticized women for wearing tight pants and dyeing their hair. They called them capitalist delinquents and said they were wearing clothes that weren't allowed. Clearly, the First Lady has no plans to fall from grace, so she sticks to the script. Number 8. Impeccable behavior and manners. Unsurprisingly, Ri is expected to have impeccable manners and show respect towards her husband and other high-ranking officials. This aligns with the deeply ingrained Confucian values in Korean culture, which emphasize propriety, respect for hierarchy, and maintaining face. These are tactics once again deployed by the state to ensure harmony prevails, and people avoid getting into heated arguments in public or private. As a matter of fact, keeping up with her pristine image has allowed Ri Sol-ju a unique honor. She's finally being addressed in the papers as the respected First Lady, a term that hasn't been used since 1970. Since then, the wives have simply been referred to as comrades. Now, with people's focus drawing on her, it's become even more crucial for her to display herself as an upstanding and polished individual at all times. The efforts in modifying her image to the public are so intense that the government is trying to scrape evidence of her past. Ri Sol-ju attended Goimsung-II Middle School in Pyongyang and pursued further studies in China, focusing on vocal music. And get this, the First Lady was a singer in the Unhasu Orchestra, which performed internationally. There have been reports of North Korean authorities trying to remove evidence of her past as a singer, including confiscating bootleg CDs of her performances, such as the song Sobaeksu. Not to mention, Ri Sol-ju is said to have visited South Korea in 2005 as part of the North Korean cheerleading team for the Asian Athletics Championships. She was one of the around 90 cheerleaders who chanted, "We are one." During her visit, Ri told a South Korean teacher that she was excited to reunite with her in the future. Either way, it looks like the government is trying its best to morph Ri into an ideal for all women in North Korea. Number 7. Limited social interactions. One of the strictest rules for Kim Jong-un's wife, Ri Sol-ju, is her limited social circle. Gone are the days when the ruling women had their own handmaids. Of course, the sole reason for this is to ensure she stays loyal to the regime. Not to mention, by having fewer friends or having heavily monitored outside interactions, the state can minimize security risks and prevent the spread of potentially harmful information. Sadly, as the wife of the supreme leader, Ri Sol-ju's interactions are controlled, giving her little freedom to form personal connections outside the designated circle. Now, her female friends must be carefully screened and approved by the government, with a focus on their political affiliations, family backgrounds, and perceived loyalty to the ruling family. Maintaining an air of mystery and distance from the general population is also crucial for Ri Sol-ju. This separation reinforces the image of the ruling family as divine and untouchable figures. contributing to the regime's cult of personality. Additionally, one of the main reasons interactions are limited is to impose a ban on interacting with foreigners. This aligns with North Korea's isolationist policies aiming to minimize external influences. Understandably, they're constantly on the fence about foreigners intercepting their secrets and risking any instability to their government. It's no surprise that the North Korean regime does everything in its power to keep its people cut off from the rest of the world. They enforce physical and digital isolation to maintain control, too. There's no direct connection to the World Wide Web, and TVs and radios are set to government-approved channels only. International calls from North Korean phones are a no-go, and the regime even blocks foreign radio and cell phone signals. Most North Koreans can't use the internet like we do. They have a limited version called the Kwangmyong, which only lets them visit government-approved websites and use approved email. It's a nerve-wracking system designed to keep North Koreans in the dark about the world beyond their borders. Basically, they've ensured her sole focus is strictly on the North Korean regime, with no distractions from those close to her or outside. Number 6. Controlled public appearances. It looks like it's not just friends that Kim has a problem with, it's her life outside her home, too. Apart from having little to no friends, Ri Sol-ju's calendar is marked with carefully selected public appearances. Kim Jong-un's wife has to follow strict rules about when she can appear in public. You see, she needs permission from the government about when she can and can't step out of her house. It's a bit scary thinking how much the government has control of her. But to them, these actions are justifiable. First of all, rules help manage how people see her, keep the ruling family secure, and add to the mystery surrounding the Kim dynasty. By carefully deciding when and where she's seen, the regime can control the image they want to present to the world. Either way, this controlled image is crucial for keeping up the belief in the supreme leader and his family as almost godlike figures. It also gives a sense of unity and stability in the regime. Plus, it helps with security. North Korea's leaders are always worried about threats, and controlling when Ri Sol-ju appears publicly lets them ensure everything is safe. Back in February 2021, there were rumors abound that Kim's wife was missing. Some were guessing that she was possibly enduring a pregnancy in secrecy, and some speculated that she's likely contracted COVID-19. Since Ri doesn't hold any formal government position, her absence from public events with Kim wasn't unusual over the past year. But then, she made an appearance at the concert celebrating the birthday of the late former leader Kim Jong-il on February 16th. To many, this was a political move, and could be interpreted as North Korea trying to display confidence in its handling of the COVID-19 situation. Either way, it seems that her appearances are strategic moves made by everyone except her. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. One of our subscribers shared an image with us that gave us the creeps. In the picture, you can see Kim Jong-un holding the chains of a collar that are around a woman's neck. Now, that's definitely an extreme way to treat your subordinates. Of course, it could be a doctored picture, or maybe it gives us a deeper look into how harsh things have been for the women in the Kim dynasty. So what do you think? The answers await. Remember to comment down below with the hashtag #subscriberpick and let us know what you think. Now on to the next topic. Number 5. Privacy trumps all. Ri Sol-ju has to follow strict privacy rules set by the government. Now, she might be the First Lady, but she's not immune to any of the laws. By now, we get the gist that these strict rules exist to protect the family image. For a long time, Ri Sol-ju remained shrouded in mystery, and even now there are many aspects of her life that remain undisclosed. In fact, back in 2012, there was still speculation about the identity of the mystery woman seen alongside Kim at official events. Some thought she might be one of his rarely seen sisters or another relative. Details about her remained unknown until Jung Chung-rae, a Democratic United Party lawmaker from South Korea, attended a closed-door intelligence briefing by the National Intelligence Service, which is equal to the CIA in the United States. It wasn't until July 2012, a good 3 years after South Korean intelligence believed they had wed, that the state media finally announced Kim and Ri's marriage. This delay in acknowledgement reflects the extreme secrecy surrounding such matters. In stark contrast, the wives of Kim's father and grandfather were hardly ever, if at all, mentioned in state media. These women deliberately stayed in the background during their husbands' lengthy reigns. As Andrei Lankoff of Kookmin University in South Korea pointed out, during the time of Kim Il-sung, the founding figure of the dynasty, his first wife's name was never breathed into the media. To the public, she was an enigma, and they couldn't have recognized her if she passed by them on the street. Even in death, she was scraped and forgotten. And get this, Kim Il-sung's second wife wasn't mentioned in the outlets for another whopping 15 years. Even then, she was mentioned only in passing. This underscores the profound secrecy ingrained in the history of the Kim dynasty. All of this happens because North Korea's main objective is to control communication and information. The state's all about keeping things secret. They have complete control over all aspects of communication. From having complete surveillance via government-approved apps and phones, they've made sure to curb all kinds of freedom for the people. All in all, she's living in an isolated lockdown with all of North Korea's citizens. Number 4. Limited travel. If Ri Sol-ju has a bucket list, then she must have buried that long ago. The First Lady travels within the city and outside its confines only in a limited manner. Ensuring that no secrets of the state get leaked and that her protection is never risked, she barely travels on her own demand. Of course, there are always fears of people becoming defectors. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term, wait till you find out what being a liberal means in North Korea. So defectors are people leaving North Korea and all its strictness behind. Many issues can encourage people to make such a drastic move. The harsh political agendas, intellectual suppression, religious extremism, and economic struggles are among the reasons people believe they are better off elsewhere. Usually these people will escape to South Korea and China. Interestingly, China is the most powerful of North Korea's few economic partners. It's been helping out North Korea that's been struggling with the sanctions in place by the United Nations for decades. They accept defectors, but to avoid further escalation of hostilities with the Korean peninsula, China refuses to award North Korean defectors refugee status, instead classifying them as illegal economic migrants. On the rare occasion that someone who fled the country tries to come back, they're in for a rude awakening. Anyone caught trying to leave illegally faces brutal consequences like torture, forced labor, or even life imprisonment in political prison camps. Heck, even the people representing Korea on different platforms come under the radar. Be it diplomats or athletes, everyone is being closely watched and has to attend special meetings to make sure they don't get influenced by foreign ideas. If a defector is detained while attempting to re-enter North Korea, they are in for a bad welcome because the guards will catch them at the border. North Korean officials question and investigate defectors extensively. They are questioned about their activities abroad, the persons they encountered, and any North Korean information they may have obtained. Defectors who are forced to recalled or opt to return on their own typically face harsh punishment. This includes incarceration, forced labor, and, in some circumstances, execution. Some defectors are transferred to political jail camps or re-education camps, where they face severe living circumstances, forced work, and ideological indoctrination. In addition to the defector, members of their immediate family may face penalty or persecution. Even if a defector is not immediately apprehended, they are likely to be constantly watched. North Korean officials closely monitor their movements and interactions, making it impossible for them to move freely or communicate with others. So no wonder Ri indulges in no such activity that would label her a traitor with one misstep. Number 3. Supporting and standing by her husband. The expectation for Ri Sol-ju to always support her husband aligns with the Confucian values of loyalty and filial piety, which are deeply ingrained in Korean culture. Understandably, it's considered a moral obligation for her to support her family, more so if they're in the public eye. But her allegiance to her husband is less about him and more about obeying the scary laws of the North Korean government. History suggests that her ascension, particularly if she gains a formal role in the hierarchy, may spark allegations that she is controlling her husband, which is not what Kim Jong-un wants. Thus, Ri Sol-ju's ascension could undermine his authority and harm the First Lady herself. Of course, that means she has to play her cards right and make sure that all of her gestures, words, and appearances pay respect to their regimen. On the flip side, she cannot consider rebelling or showing any sympathy to the enemy because of the harsh laws in place. Even though she has been present in meetings with South Korean personnel, she cannot display or project her true intentions. North Korea has introduced a terrifying law known as the Pyongyang Cultural Language Protection Act, aiming to suppress South Korean cultural influence. The law deems individuals imitating or using South Korean dialect or phrases as offenders, equating them to carriers of unwelcome cultural contamination. Punishments for such actions, regardless of severity, can range up to the death penalty. Additionally, the legislation outlaws Japanese terminology, unauthorized slang, obscure expressions, and what it deems as unethical abbreviations. The primary objective of this rule is to discourage North Koreans from adopting what's referred to as the puppet way of speaking. South Korean media, including films, TV shows, and news programs, are gaining popularity in North Korea through illegal imports. This surge in popularity has led to the emergence of new linguistic forms. The use of English-derived words like paesion, or fashion, and wapyu, meaning wife is discouraged as it's considered part of the puppet way of speaking. Not to mention, North Korean women are advised against using terms like oppa or jagiya to refer to their husbands or boyfriends. Instead, they are encouraged to use dongji, which means comrade. In a recent case, 20 North Korean winter athletes were sentenced to labor camps for using South Korean words during a game, highlighting the strict enforcement of this language regulation. To defend North Korea's socialist ideology, a law passed in December 2020 demands the death penalty for anyone caught distributing South Korean or American media. According to the U.S. State Department, the regime trains its people to think with a one-sided narrative through propaganda efforts in schools and workplaces, as well as state-owned media. So it's no surprise that she has decided to stand through thick and thin with her husband. Number 2, maintaining the family image. Upholding a dignified and disciplined family image is consistent with Confucian ideals of maintaining a harmonious family unit, which is highly valued in Korean culture. The family is seen as a microcosm of society, and its image reflects on the broader community. Even though she has had many absences that have been left unaddressed, there is one unshakable narrative that exists. It is about Kim and his family. They have been touted as being a picture-perfect family that is loyal to the state and its beliefs. Even though she is an educated woman playing the role of First Lady, she's been kept in the background. According to Pyongyang experts, Miss Ri is forging new ground by playing the role of a typical North Korean First Lady. Her public appearances are carefully planned to portray her as a nurturing mother figure to the country. She exudes confidence and appears at ease in public as part of her husband's diplomatic efforts, a demeanor honed from her earlier years as a performer. And get this, Seoul authorities had to gather intel with extreme difficulty about Kim's family. They learned that Mr. Kim and Miss Ri have 3 children, but that's where the intel ends. They've kept their kids under wraps. The firstborn is a son, whose name has not been disclosed. He was born in 2010, and the secondborn is a daughter who was born in 2013. In 2017, another child, whose gender was unknown, was born. Dennis Rodman, a former basketball player, visited Kim Jong-un multiple times and claimed Mr. Kim's daughter was named Ju-ae. And it seems that both parents are on the move to launch their children to power. Kim Jong-un has introduced his daughter, Kim Ju-ae, to the world, revealing a more intimate side. This planned move is intended to present Kim as a family man. The authorities revealed photos and videos of Kim and Ju-ae in loving poses, stressing their connection when they went for a visit to the aerospace agency. There appears to be a genuine attachment between Kim and his daughter, not just political strategy. He portrays himself as a devoted husband and father. In truth, Kim's presentation as a family-oriented leader is consistent with North Korean doctrine, in which the ruling family is revered as the nation's great fathers. Finally, the story being written is about a leader who adores his family. Number 1. Rigid daily schedule. Ri Sol-ju's compliance with a strict daily routine reflects the broader Korean cultural value of discipline and order. Routine and structure are viewed as essential elements in maintaining a balanced and purposeful life. Ri Sol-ju lives a highly disciplined life. Her schedule is highly detailed and carefully curated by government personnel. They want to make sure she plays her role as an upstanding citizen, wife, and mother. Her day usually involves tending to her parental duties and attending crucial meetings that will help strengthen political ties. To the people of North Korea, her duty as a wife takes importance over all other roles. So, she tends to her husband's needs, manages their home, and makes sure her children are well looked after. Every move she makes is like a chess piece that the Kim dynasty overlooks. This keeps her focused on her role within the ruling family. We know that her day isn't consumed by trivial or random activities, as she has a limited circle of people she can trust. On a positive note, some of her excursions through work are fun. She attended the National Ballet of China and performed Giselle at the Mansudi Art Theater in central Pyongyang as part of the 31st annual April-Spring Friendship Art Festival back in 2018. Of course, every appearance she makes is heavily monitored. Like clockwork, she allows official personnel to plan out her day, which she follows to the letter. So, Ri Sol-ju's life is very structured and controlled. While it's not an easy life for the First Lady, it sure makes the job of the government easy. She meets their expectations and presents the image they want to show to the world, so she's playing her cards tactfully. The reason discipline has such a strong hold on her day-to-day activities is due to her husband's obsession with the concept. Discipline, according to Kim Jong-un, is the glue that ties North Korea together. He has seen his father's strict regimen that had discipline and ironclad values at its core, and he wishes to bring that into effect. He wants to bring this change to the military to begin with. Consider it similar to a large army. Problems may arise if they do not follow the guidelines and collaborate. Kim Jong-un wants to ensure that everyone in the military strictly adheres to the guidelines. This teaches them to be strong and ready to protect their country if necessary. But discipline is not limited to the military. It is also significant in other aspects of North Korean life. Consider it a large puzzle. For the entire picture to come together, each piece must fit perfectly. Of course, that means there's no place for those people who wish to step away and ruin North Korea's plans for perfection. So, for Kim Jong-un, discipline isn't simply a buzzword. It's a critical component of how he envisions the country running. It's similar to a house's foundation. If it's sturdy, the entire house will be stable. This is why Kim desires strict discipline in North Korea. So do you think you could bear the rules and live in North Korea? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.